Hello, good evening. It is evening for me. So for the second half of literacy, we're looking at, let me bring it up, the question at the end of our booklet. It's a little writing task which said, imagine you are Bruno. Write a letter to your parents telling them what has happened and convincing them of the truth. So this little job should take you until the end of the week. And at the end of it, you'll have a beautiful written letter. It'll be well made. It'll have capitals. It'll have full stops. It'll have those paragraphs. It'll have really good ideas, great convincing, great imaginative use of words as well, vocabulary. It'll be fantastic. So I'm going to have a little look at what letters are like for you first, and we'll look at an example one and then I'll do an example, but instead of being Bruno, I'm just going to be the narrator so that you can't copy me, and then you'll get an idea for what to do for Bruno. So let's have a little look on screen. So here you go. So I think you've all maybe not sent letters to people before, but you've been working on writing some letters before. So it's a way to communicate to people. You can do formal ones. So formal means is different to like casual, I guess, or not formal. So formal is usually like if you're writing to someone in government or you're applying for a job or you're doing something where you have to be sort of respectful and the way you talk is different. Or you could have an informal letter like one that you send to a friend or someone in your family and you can tell more jokes or you can even be rude if that's something that's okay with them. So it's very different to one that you'd send to a boss or something. So yeah, another version of it is emails these days, but people still make letters. I got one sitting here from the other day. So I've made a letter for someone, I've written it, and that'll get sent out. So here's an example of a formal letter. So let's have a little look. What do we see at the start? I'll get my little highlighter out so we can highlight as we go. So first thing is at the top, it's got a date, which is really good, especially if you write a letter to someone and they keep it for a long time, because then when they look back at it, they'll be like, when did I get this? This tells you exactly when they wrote it, which is really good. Then it says, Dear Auntie Susie. It's got a comma. So, dear something is how you usually could start a letter. Drag that across. There we go. Whoop, calm down. There we go. So, dear Auntie Susie, you might do one. Dear Mum and Dad, if you're doing the letter to the parents in the story. Then on the next line, it's already got the next paragraph down here. Thank you very much for the present you sent me for my 8th birthday. I love the hat. It has all my favorite colors and it is so warm. The coloring pens are perfect too. My old ones were just running out, so now I can keep coloring. So we have thank you very much for the present you sent me for my 8th birthday. There's the first sentence. So saying thank you for some presents. That's what this paragraph's going to be about. It says, I love the hat. Little things like exclamation marks are great. Shows that she really liked it. Or he. Favorite colors are so warm. Coloring pens are perfect too. So saying thank you for the presents. So this is an informal way of speaking. So it's more friendly than if she was writing to like a company that gave them something. All right. We had a fun day with my family and friends. We played party games and ate yummy food. Mum made me a rainbow cake with 8 candles on the top. So then that paragraph there is about the day that they had for their birthday. So not saying thank you for the presents, but what we did on the day. It's playing party games, ate yummy food. So little words like yummy food, having an adjective. You could have another word, delicious, fantastic, amazing food. Instead of saying we played party games, you might have said more about what kind of games you played as well, giving some more detail. Then finishing off at the end, it says, I hope you are well and I can't wait to see you again soon. And then at the end, lots of love, Ella. So this goodbye is an informal one because it's friendly because they know the person. So if you were applying for a job in the future, I probably wouldn't end my letter with lots of love because that's just weird. You'd have to be formal, so you'd say something like yours sincerely, something like that, which is very different. But we're just going to do an informal letter for today. So let me do an example of how to plan to do a letter for this situation. But instead of being Bruno, I'm going to be the narrator, and I'm going to write to Grandmama. So let's see, we've got narrator and Grandmama. So what's it like with the narrator and Grandmama? So they love each other a lot. They're nice to each other. Uh, Grandmama knows about witches. I'm going to do some dots here. That just means Grandmama knows, so I don't have to write it twice. Grandmama knows. Oh, instead of knows, Grandmama uh, looks out for the narrator. Just do an N. So Grandmama, there's my mouse. Grandmama knows about witches, and Grandmama looks out for narrator because she tries to tell him to be careful of things and what to look out for. And she, tried to get him in the sock, lower him down to find out what's going on with the witches. So that's a bit about what the two people are in this situation. So if you're doing yours, you're going to pretend you're Bruno and you're going to think, well, what's the relationship with the parents? You might get some clues if you listen back to the chapter about how the parents spoke about Bruno. So if you go back and listen, you might notice the way they talked. They might not have said things like, my darling boy, or something like that. They might have been using different ways to talk about him, which might change how you think they feel about their boy. Maybe a bit different. Think about how Bruno thinks about his parents as well and how he treats them. I feel like he's a bit of a greedy kid, and I feel like he thinks he can get whatever he wants from his parents. So maybe when you're writing your letter, the way that he's going to talk might be a bit bossy and a bit uh, maybe greedy or rude. Maybe he's not talking very nice to his parents. But that's up to you for when you write your letter. So for the narrator and the grandmama, I think he's going to be talking nicely to grandmama based on how they treat each other. They're quite nice to each other. So what do I want to talk about in it? I've got to tell him, her, about what's happened. So I'm going to pretend that he's become a mouse and he's going to write a letter to grandmama about how he got turned into a mouse. So to plan that out, let's have a little piece of paper. I recommend a Word document's a good thing to work on, but for this one, let's just get some ideas. And so, yeah, you could talk about the Grand High Witch. I could talk about the Formula. What's it called? Formula 86 Rapid Rapid Mouse Maker. I can't remember the name of it. It's such a strange name for a potion. Let's have a look. It is 86 Delayed Action Mouse Maker. Ugh, try and say that quickly. 86 Delayed Mouse Maker. 86 Delayed Action Mouse Maker. That's another thing I might mention. I could talk about other witches. I could talk about Bruno. I could mention how he was turned into a mouse. And I could talk about the plan that the witches had. I think that would be enough. And maybe little things might be like how he's feeling and how he misses Grandmama, or how he wants her to help him, save him, see if she can reverse him being turned into a mouse. We shall see. So let me switch over to a Word document. So let me bring one up real quick. Here we go. So if I was going to do a little draft on this, I'd start with the date. So for you, it's Tuesday, the 8th of November. And let me zoom in too, so it's a bit bigger. And I'll take my face away. Goodbye. Here we go. So Tuesday, 8th of November, 2022. Dear Grandmama, and you know what? I feel like he might do something even better. Dearest Grandmama, because he loves his grandmama. But you're doing Bruno, talking to his parents, mum and dad, so you might do something different. But this is my grandmama one. Dearest Grandmama, and I probably want to start with how I need help. So I might say, I need your help. That might be a good start. Now, Grandmama probably knows about the witches potentially being around. So I need your help. There are witches at the hotel. They turned me into a mouse and another boy called Bruno. There was a ghastly woman. Well, she wasn't a woman, she was a witch. A ghastly witch called the Grand High Witch. She has a fake face from a mask she wears. But when she takes it off, she looks horrific. She even burnt another witch with her eyes just for disagreeing with her. Okay, what have I written so far in the paragraph? I've said I needed help, that there's witches, I've been turned into a mouse, and there's this witch that wears a mask that's horrific and ghastly and mean. So the next paragraph, I probably want to talk about what the plan was and what sort of happened to me. She's the one who turned me into a mouse. So my next paragraph about being turned into a mouse. The Grand High Witch has made, now I'm going to go back to my notes, 86 delayed action mouse maker. Okay. The Grand High Witch has made something called 86 delayed action mouse maker. Is that hyphenated? I'm not sure. I'm just going to leave it for now. The Grand High Witch has made something called 86 delayed action mouse maker. She plans to get all the witches to buy sweet shops in England and then poison the chocolates or poison the chocolate so that all the children will eat it and turn into mice once they go to school. She turned Bruno into a mouse first, then she caught me and turned me into one too. I might talk about how I escaped if I want to. Why not? managed to escape by running as quick as a cricket. They were too slow to catch me, but now I'm stuck as a mouse and I don't know what to do. And I might go back to what I know about Grandmama, that she knows about witches. So maybe I think she can help me. Please help me, Grandmama. How do I undo the spell? How can we stop these witches from wiping all of uh, all of us children out? I'm going to do question mark and an exclamation mark because I'm panicking. All right, I've done a little bit of writing there, and then I might finish it off. How do I want to finish it? I might just stick with the love thing. So I'll just say, I love you, Grandmama. We don't know the narrator's name. I'm going to have to make it up. Bob. There you go. So that is my draft for now. So you might do that Tuesday, and then the next day you might go through and look and think, I need your help. There are witches at the hotel. I might be like, you know what? I could make that a little better. There are hordes of horrible. How do you spell hordes? H-O-R-D-S. There are hordes of horrible witches at the hotel, disguised as ladies. There you go. Bit different. They turned me into a mouse. Instead of mouse, what if I said a tiny little mouse? And then I might change this. They turned me into a tiny little mouse and another boy called Bruno. I'm going to change that to they changed me and another boy called Bruno into tiny little mice. There was a ghastly witch called the Grand High Witch. She had a fake face from a mask she wears. So, as you can see, going through, making sure things make sense as we do it. So, if you type this up, we'll find a way so that I can have a look as well, which would be great. So I can help you with some editing. But as you can see, that took me, I don't know how long, 10 minutes maybe, to work on that. So what helped me was I wrote down a little bit about what I know about my character and the person they're writing to. So when you're doing this, you're going to do Bruno and mum and dad. Do they love each other a lot? Are they nice to each other? Is Bruno a nice, gentle, respectful kid? Is he a greedy, naughty, rude kid? You decide. What do you think the parents are like from what you've heard from them? Do you think they know about witches? Do you think they want to look out for Bruno the same way, or are they a bit different? So once you know that, that'll help you think of your ideas and how you're going to talk to your parents in that letter when you're pretending to be Bruno. But we don't talk about Bruno. So that is it for letter writing for today. If you have any questions, I am on the line, but I think you'll make a good start with that. And then hopefully by the end of the week, we'll have a really nice letter done, and we can probably even make it look really good and print it on some nice paper to make it look like a cool little letter. Or we could shrink it down and make it like mouse sized. I could show you how to do that so you can make a tiny little letter. And I could show you how to make tiny little envelopes. So you could have something like this, but you'll make a tiny one. And you can have inside it like a little mouse-sized letter. That sounds like a cool idea. I like it. All right, so see how you go. If you need any help, I'm on the line and I'll try and help you out as best I can. Thanks very much. I'm going to bed.